Hello, everyone. It's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, I have an awesome guest with me today. I have Laura Steiner. Lauren Steiner. She has a show, Robust Opposition. And it's funny, I was introduced to her. I think it was this, I will see a video here or there. And I said, that woman is a pit bull. And eventually we ended up getting to talk. She's awesome. And so I am fortunate to have her on the show. Lauren, please tell the audience hello.
Hello, audience. I'm happy to be on your show, Jamal.
All right. So we have a list of things that we were going to talk about today. Which one do you want to start? So North Korea, Sam Ronan. Let's see, what was the other ones? The primaries. What do you want to start with that? I kind of want to start with Sam Ronan because I think that's the fastest one to get through. So just for people who don't know, Sam Ronan gets pulled over, and I can show the video, but ultimately it's Sam Ronan is driving. He gets pulled over. Cops pull lights on him. He takes a few turns, goes into his driveway. You hear screaming for this maniac cop who's screaming at the top of his lungs. Sam Ronan is Facebooking the entire thing. So the entire thing is on Facebook Live. And Sam Ronan is like, you guys are on Facebook Live. You guys are like, he's just kind of asking the officer, why are you doing this, etc. The officer tells Sam to get down. Sam defiantly says no, and then further goes into having this back and forth. You can look at this video, and if you knew nothing about anything else, you just knew how cops behave, you knew that this was not going to go well. Sam Ronan is eventually taken down. They look like they were about to tase him. Sam Ronan tells the guy that you're on video, you're live, and at which point, I don't necessarily know if they had the full thing of whether or not Sam got tased, but I think other people in that situation would have been tased. And Sam Ronan gets taken away. Now, I think I did that justice on what fundamentally took place.
No.
Go for it.
Okay, what you didn't get is the part before we started Facebooking Live.
Okay, right. I saw that now. Nico House put that up.
I saw that, the dash cam video. And I also spoke with Sam about this because I messaged him, please contact me when you get out. I have some questions. Mm-hmm. And what happened was, they wanted to pull him over for a lane change. And he wouldn't pull over. And like you said, he made a couple of turns. He went into his own driveway. So right then and there, he wasn't obeying the officer. And if I were an officer, now I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If I were an officer, I would be concerned about that. I would think that person is maybe trying to evade, arrest or capture or whatever. Right. Because the normal thing for a person to do is to pull over immediately as soon as possible.
Fair enough.
So he didn't do that. And then the next thing that he did was he got out of his vehicle, which they never want you to do. Because I do this sometimes too. And they said, get back in the vehicle. He refused to get back in the vehicle. And only after he refused to get back in the vehicle did they start saying, get on the ground, get on the ground. And that's when he started Facebook Living. So I think those 2 points are really important because you have to imagine what they might have thought. And then he's back talking them. Now, I don't have a problem with back talking the cops. I do it all the time. But that's my white privilege. And that was his white privilege. And I was saying to him, Sam, be careful about righteous indignation and making a big deal about this, because people of color, and you can speak to this, Jamal, maybe you didn't have this reaction, but people of color would have gotten shot for any of those things that he did.
Honestly, I did a video on this. And wait a minute, I'm getting feedback. I did a video on this. And my response to what Sam did was to stop the video and be like, oh my God, I don't know anybody of African-American descent or Hispanic that would have did that. Like get on the ground. No. I was like, wow. I was like, wow. I think in the video, I literally stopped the video within the first few seconds and said, Sam could have gotten shot. Literally, he could have gotten shot. Because I understand this idea of white privilege and everything else, but that privilege, there may be a higher percentage of African Americans that get shot or killed by cops. That's true, but there's still a majority of whites that get killed by cops. It's like that privilege only goes but so far. Sam was lucky he didn't get killed that night. That's the way I looked at it. I will give you this. It is true that Sam, he was doing the lane changes thing, like where he was just going when they were trying to pull him over. I thought that was weird when I saw the video, and I was like, That's a little strange. But I was trying to give Sam the benefit of the doubt, thinking that maybe he didn't know the cop was specifically for him, or he was trying to go to his apartment because he felt more safe there. I got to be honest, I don't like being one-on-one with police officers in any scenario. I try to avoid them in the same way I try to avoid criminals and maniacs. So I'm not shocked if he was like, I want to get here in somewhat of a safe space. That being said, I did think it was weird, the jumping out of the car. I don't think I've ever jumped out of a car at a traffic stop. Like, it never occurs to me to jump out of a car at a traffic stop. I've been stopped, and it's like, God damn it, goddamn cop, he's fucking stopping me for some reason. And getting out the car, nothing occurs. Like, so that's the first point. So I agree with you on that. That one's a little weird, jumping out of the car. All of that, taking all that to be true, their behavior was extreme. Like, at no point in that situation was there conflict de-escalation, which is my issue with all of this. It's not that I disagree with you that Sam was kind of a little bit over the top in his behavior, like this kind of righteous indignation. Why are you stopping me? Why are you stopping me, sir? Like this type of stuff. But that righteous indignation didn't necessarily need to escalate to, we need to take him down and potentially tase him, if that makes sense. Like, there is something to be said for being able to lower the escalation of an interaction that you're having. And this idea of cops always needing to be the authority as opposed to actually having some level of conflict resolution is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Well,
when they shot Tamir Rice, jumped out of the car, 2 seconds, killed the guy. Well, this idea of conflict resolution would have taken that in somewhat of a different way, as opposed to automatically taking this to a 10 that it was. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to share my little story about white privilege and the cops, because I get pulled over a lot because I am a demon on the road. I cannot stand traffic. I live in Los Angeles. The traffic here is atrocious. I mean, to get from point A to point B, even if it's 5 miles away, could take 30 minutes, even if it's not rush hour. And so I've got various humorous stories of how I've gotten out of traffic tickets. But I get a lot of traffic tickets, and and my insurance rates go up and the whole 9 yards. Well, last year I did something that was so egregious that when you hear this story, you're going to die. And people are going to say, oh my God, talk about white privilege. I had dropped my son off at his dad's house in Century City, and I was going to Hollywood to meet my friends for dinner. And it's maybe about 7-8 miles or something like that. I got on Olympic Boulevard. The traffic was so horrendous. I kept trying to go different routes, could not avoid this traffic. By the time I was like halfway through, I was by like the farmer's market, the Grove area. I make an illegal left turn on a red light where I see no cars. I then see a crosswalk where there's a light, and I go through it, even though there was a pedestrian stepping out on the crosswalk. I then get to the next place where I want to turn right, and there's so much traffic in the right turn lane. I'm honking. There's this bus. I finally said, fuck it. I go around to the middle lane, and then I make a right turn in the middle lane. I make a lane because at this point, it's just the divider. You know, sometimes like if you have to pull over, not even a lane. And I'm driving along this lane, trying to pass this bus. And then all of a sudden I see this motorcycle cop in the rear view mirror, and the siren starts. So I'm thinking, I am so fucked now.
You were going to get shot.
There's no way that I was going to like, oh, what did I do, officer? Or, oh, please, can't you just give me a warning? So something in me, I don't know what it was, decided to go postal. And I shouldn't say that.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
So I stick my head out of my window and I go, what do you want? I mean, just like that. And he couldn't believe it. He was like, pull over up there, you know, and I'm like, all right. So I pull into the Grove, I pull into the shoulder, and I get out of the car.
Oh,
and
wow.
and I'm like, why are you pulling me over? I'm blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, I've been in this traffic. You have no idea. It's taken me 30 minutes to go 2 miles, and I still haven't gotten my desk. And I'm going like this mad woman, right? So he's like, calm down. You know, you can't. Well, no, actually, first he said something to me.
Yeah.
Before the calm down. And I don't remember it was, but what it caused me to say is, I know Eric Garcetti, the mayor, and I know Mike Fewer, the city attorney.
Wow.
And I pay, and I said, I pay your salary, and you can't talk to me like this. And I'm going to tell them that you talk to me like this, and da 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 da. And then that's when he started with the comment.
Wow.
He says, I got an idea for you. Have you tried meditation? And by this point, this cop, who should have been like, by all rights, hauling me into jail for making
or tasing you, more like tasing you than anything else.
you know, he's like trying to calm me down. This like white lady who has Beverly Hills address on her driver's license, who's already said she knows the mayor and the city attorney with confidence. And I just felt like, and he gives me a warning.
That's amazing.
He gives me a
warning. Never gotten a warning from a cop. Never in any scenario. I don't know anyone that's a male of an African-American persuasion that has ever gotten a warning. Now, I'm not saying that they haven't. Like I said, I don't have absolute knowledge of things. But I strongly suspect that in normal circumstances, you would have been tased. You would have been absolutely tased. It would have been calm down. It would have been calling for backup. This woman is flipping out. We need help. We need assistance. I am amazed by this. David Chappelle has this joke where David Chappelle talks about having a white friend, and that the white friend is the one who does the talking to the cops because he's the one that has a chance of having this stuff gets pulled over. He talks about one time where they get pulled over, and his friend is like having a go at the cop, and the cop, and David Chappelle is sitting there like, "Oh my God, we're gonna get killed! Oh my God, we're gonna get killed!" And the cops listen to the warning and walks away, and he's like, "What's wrong, Dave?" He's like, "What do you mean? What's wrong?" He's like, "What the hell was that?" "Oh, well, what do you mean?" Completely missing the point of what has just taken place there is a mind blowing. I watched that video for Ronan, and I was blown away by that video. I hate watching videos like that. It's
well, also it was my female privilege too.
That too. I mean, I think if you were a guy, I think they would have been less inclined to be that way.
Yeah.
And honestly, even to some degree, more than race, that you were female, that they were less inclined to do that. That being said, again, that's somewhat flexible because you have some that are not necessarily inclined, whether you're a woman or a man or anything else. Cops are maniacs.
Yeah.
And the conflict resolution thing is a big, big deal. I understand that Sam Ronan was being somewhat obtuse. Fair enough. Like, you know, it's a little weird to say you're going to Facebook the whole thing, but whatever. I understand it. I don't know if he was like, I'm going to make this up. Whatever. Getting to the point of needing, let me ask you this. Do you honestly believe that they needed to get to the point where they were literally physically putting him on the ground as opposed to talking to him? Do you know what I mean? Like talking to a person as a human being as opposed to get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground, sir. That.
Yeah.
Well, that you look like a maniac, and for the most part, you are creating your monsters in the way people perceive you and going after you. The thing of, sir, you did multiple lane changes and you wouldn't pull over. You can understand that we have some kind of feelings about the way you're doing that, and we don't know if you are some. That's a different conversation. And that conversation with me engaging with him as a human being stops me from having to put my hands on him and some other guy to have, wrestling to the ground and all this other stuff.
I got to tell you something. Your training is not to be a human being. And I'll give you an example.
That's my point.
This past Sunday, I was live streaming a protest at the Otay Mesa Detention Center, Immigrant Detention Center, which is run by Core Civic, which is the new name of the Corrections Corporation of America, private prison corporation. And we were down there, about 200 people, protesting the fact that they were detaining these people that were merely seeking political asylum. Yeah. They were separating them from their children. They were keeping them in inhumane conditions. And it was a wonderful protest. And I decided to step over the line from where they had put these cones. And there were 4 guards that were sort of guarding the driveway. 2 of them were women, 2 of them were men. And I'm live streaming, and I decide to go over there. And I say first look at the woman, and I say, tell me, ma'am, are you a mother? Do you have children? And silent. She was stone-faced. And then I said, because I'm just wondering if you're a mother, how you would feel if they took your children away from you.
Yeah.
and you had no idea what happened to them simply because you were fleeing, political persecution. And one of the other guards said to me, step behind the cones, ma'am. I'm like, why can't you answer? You can answer. You're not representing them. You can just answer as a human being right now. Why can't you answer? And then he gets on the phone like he's calling someone. And then, one of the organizers pulled me back because they didn't want it to escalate. They thought that I might be arrested. They didn't want this to be an arrestable action. And I just said, and then afterwards, when I stopped live streaming, I went over there again and I said, something? The way I said, it would behoove you in the future when someone asks you a question like that and you're being live streamed, and over 7,000 people have seen this, which is a lot for me. I mean, it's not 30,000, it's not 300,000, but 7,000.
7,000 people, still a lot of people.
A lot for me. And so I said, because all you did was reinforce my viewers' perceptions of what private prison corporations and their employees are like.
Yeah.
Inhumane, only care about the dollar. And then the reporter from the San Diego Tribune came over and asked me what I had said to them. And I told him, and he put it into a little video piece that was in the article that was on the cover of the San Diego Tribune that day.
Wow, nice.
So that was kind of good. That was like what we call earned media.
That was awesome.
Yeah. But I feel like, they're trained to respond in that way, to be completely dispassionate and not display their humanity. Now, you're right. They didn't have to go, that extreme with him.
Yeah.
But I just, when you're talking about, oh, sir, I understand you're having feelings with the way we put, I just don't see that. That's the way therapists talk.
No. I understand. Don't misunderstand me. If the person is being overly aggressive, yes, I get it. If the person is Sam Ronan wasn't showing signs of aggression. And you're right. It's the way therapists talk. I guess I'm making a point that the interaction between human beings and cops will be much better spent if it was done through this thing of being trained in the better way, let's say it that way, or at the very least having some level of experience with de-escalation, as opposed to I am the authority, and if I need to shoot, kill, murder, or put you down, that's what I will do, as opposed to action and consequence of what gets me more bang for my buck. That's the point I'm making. It's not necessarily about being a therapist. It is not necessarily taking things to the 10th degree within a few seconds of an engagement.
Yeah. All right. What's the next subject?
North Korea, or if